In today's video, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to discuss why strength training is important for your speed and endurance and how it can improve your overall health. Two, I'm actually going to go to the gym. I'm going to show you 5 straightforward exercises and how to perform these to develop your strength fast. Righty, so let's start off with why you should strength train. If you're well versed in the benefits of strength training and you've watched some of my videos, you can actually skip this bit and go straight to the practical gym section. Well, just follow this bit. If you're still with me, let's get into it. Let's start off with some geeky facts. Strength training improves your muscle quantity, quality, and its function. This is not only just good for performance, but it's also really good for your overall health. Now, think about it. Super efficient, healthy muscles clear waste metabolites way faster, are more economical with the fuel that you eat, and are a marker of longevity in older populations. Being strong gives you way more torque, and that means more power. Strength extends your muscles' endurance economy, which basically means you need less power to be able to ride at the same speed over longer distances. Being strong improves your muscle economy and power at lactate threshold independently of VO2. When it comes to long-term health, it helps mitigate age-related strength loss, and it has been shown to increase tendon health and joint stability. Plus, it's important for bone density, which is something a lot of cyclists who don't do any strength training or any load bearing struggle with a lot. Having more lean muscle is great for your metabolism because it's more active than body fat, and that demands more energy. Strength training helps iron out the imbalances of everyday life. Like, most of us are fairly sedentary, spending a lot of time sitting down, and this causes our glutes and hamstrings to weaken and switch off, which makes us very quad dominant. Now, why should you be concerned about that? Well, look, I'll go into that when I hit the gym. And here's something else you may not have considered. The more lean muscle mass you have, if you have a crash, the more likely you're rather going to bounce than break. Because, let's face it, you're going to have higher bone density and you're going to have more muscle padding that, when you hit the ground, hopefully it's going to protect you. Righty, now we've got that out of the way, let's talk about how to start in the gym without breaking yourself. If you've never hit the gym or are just starting back, you need to condition the muscles, joints and tendons to withstand the progression of lifting heavier later on. So how do you do this and what should you focus on? Before I go into sets and reps, let's start off with thinking about movement and making that a priority. And it should be the priority all the way through your lifting career. But you should be focusing on activating and loading the muscles through a really good range of motion with slower lifting tempos. And that way, you're loading the muscles safely and getting the best out of your training. For sets and reps, think about strength endurance. So you're going to be looking at around about 3 sets with 15 to 20 repetitions. Now think about this on the weight selection. It should be moderately heavy, where you're able to finish those repetitions with really good form for each repetition and each set. Remember, this is the start of your strength training program, so we're conditioning the body to start to lift heavier later on. Right, so I think it's time to hit the gym. Some strength training exercises take a lot of skill, like squats and deadlifts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 5 exercises that everybody can do straight off that requires very little skill, but it'll start getting them stronger. Right, let's see what I can film in the gym. Now, let's be really honest. This is a public gym and sometimes it can be really busy and sometimes it can be empty. So let's see what I can do. I'll try and talk to the camera as much as I can. I haven't been able to talk much to the camera because there's quite a few people in the gym. I didn't want to get in their way. So what I'll do is I'll do some voiceovers to what you're about to see. This is called the front foot elevated lunge. You'll notice I've got my front foot on about 3 plates here. And this is so I can get deep into the lunge and target my glutes and my hamstrings, less so on the quads. I like this exercise because, as I talk about, we sit down a lot and we get fairly dysfunctional. So this is targeting the muscles that often just get sat upon. Dumbbell step-ups target the glutes and the hamstrings, and it does require a bit of skill. But what I like about this is it targets each leg independently. So that way, if you have any imbalances, it's going to even that out very quickly. I like using a leg press because you don't need much skill for this. It just requires strength to do the exercise, which means that you can do it safely and lift heavier fairly quickly. Notice on this exercise, I'm trying to lower the weight in 3 seconds and then push it away from me strongly. That's a great way to build strength and load the muscle. So let's talk about why your quads are sometimes the cause of your knee pain. Now, let me show you. When you're cycling, you've got a really strong sweep on the outside of the quad. Now, if this overdevelops, what happens is it pulls your kneecap over. That's why you do leg extensions, because what that does is when you're bringing the leg up to almost full extension, it switches on the vastus medialis, which is the teardrop muscle on the inside of the kneecap, which helps pull the kneecap back into alignment. So if you have super dominant quads and you have a big sweep on the outside, doing things like leg extensions will right that imbalance. And finally, I'll throw in one of my favorite core exercises, which hits the lower back, lower abs, upper abs, and your obliques. So it's hitting all the muscles that you require to keep you stable on the bike. And it's so far removed from any of the bodybuilding stuff that people try and get you to do on some of the generic stuff that you see out there. And what this exercise does, or when you're performing it, you have to keep the cable under tension all the way through. So even at full extension, you're holding it in a small isometric hold before you let the weight under control go back towards the machine. And that way, you're constantly keeping the core engaged and you're working the muscles as effective as you can. Riley, that's it for this week. If you want to get even more out of your strength training and find out when is best place to put your strength training before or after your cycling, I made a video about that, well, here.